And California, here we are, right here at the hometown of the Michael Jackson Inquisition, not very far from Dan Petrie, who's with us on the show, who had his own case. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Nice to see you again, Mr. Wagner.
You had a picture here of a man. He still looks like a man over here. What's this guy's name?
Kelly Thomas.
Kelly Thomas. And over here, he's been severely beaten.
It's really bad.
And he still lived for a few days?
Yeah, I guess he lived for 5 days. And
who beat this man like this?
6 Fullerton police officers beat him.
6 Fullerton police. I wonder if those were the same. I wonder if those were the same guys that used to work under Sheriff Mike Corona and then got transferred when the whistle was blown by Andrea Nelson about what was going on. I mean, look at this, people. Here he is before, what he looked like, and here he is after the
That's
police.
actually in the hospital bed.
He's in the hospital bed. Was he ever conscious again after this?
From what I read, what I read out of the Fullerton people who are, there's a Justice for Kelly site on Facebook, and I've joined them, and they're keeping
Justice for Kelly
Thomas site.
Justice for Kelly Thomas.
Right, and anyone in America can join this site and join these. These are peaceful rally people and vigil people who are holding candlelight vigils every Saturday from 9 to 3 at PD and 8 to 10 Saturday at City Hall, 303 West Commonwealth and Fullerton, California. And they're approaching about 3,000 strong now. I joined them. And basically what you do is you just join them and you blog with them. If someone says something and you want to chime in, you do. And it's all been really, they're just seeking justice for this man who was fatally murdered by these 6 police officers. And that's what they're after.
Who are those 6 police officers?
They have their names. I didn't want
with you?
No, I don't have them. One's name's, I think it's James Blatney, they think is the major one. Yeah, I can get the names if I have to.
I'm just wondering if these are the guys got fired after Andrea Nelson blew the whistle on them, and then Andrea Nelson was brutally strangled and murdered. And I believe the murderer, in my opinion, he was only arrested for date rape drug possession, for which he had immediate probation with multiple prior convictions. His name is Omar Bakhtar, and you can find that. I'm just wondering if it's the same police that were let go in one police force and they just went over and got hired by the
Well, they said as a rookie this guy was shot in the eye, lost an eye, so he probably should have been disabilityed out to begin with in L.A. Then from what I read, they transferred him now to Fullerton, so he probably had some sort of a vendetta against society anyway. So, because he had been shot in the eye, so obviously he was probably a little mental, you know.
The cop.
The cop. So, and now this proves he was mental because obviously what he did to this guy. From what I read, 2 police officers came up to grab and arrest Kelly Thomas, and he suffers from schizophrenia, and he's mentally ill, and he probably had dealings with the police before, and he started to run. Now, a mentally ill man will do strange things like run. I was in law enforcement at one time. I went to college for administration of justice, and this is why I've taken on this fight for victims of police officers and police corruption's rights, because I know what the police are supposed to do, and in my opinion, the police all over this country are not doing what they're supposed to do. I was taught you're never to go to the head ever. I was taught, you know, well, you just arrest a guy. You don't hit him on the head for 15 minutes until his eyes are basically popping out. I mean, it's ridiculous. So basically, you try to reason with people before you jump to conclusions. You know, I mean, it's what's going on out there in the police is basically what I've been trying to warn people about for 30 years. As a 20-year-old security guard, I was an eyewitness to a police crime and a victim of a police crime, so I know all about the corruption this family is going through. The name of the family is Ron Thomas, Kathy Thomas, Tina Thomas Kinzer, and a brother who I don't have the name. And they are the people who are now seeking justice for Kelly Thomas. So I'm helping them. So what I did was, when I heard about this case, I heard that for 3 weeks the Fullerton media didn't even report this case. You have a young man brutally murdered at a bus stop by 6 Fullerton police officers.
And nobody mentions it.
And nobody mentions it to the media, or they heard about it and didn't do anything.
Wow.
Now watch. I heard about that and I said, this is I cannot believe this. So I then blasted the story all over the nation, all the way to the New York Times, Fox News, CNN, On the Record with Greta Van Susteren, and along with the picture that you have, along with the story of what I wrote. And real quick, I'll read what I wrote in my email to reporters all over the nation.
Read.
For over 30 years now, I've been trying to warn people that there are some criminally corrupt or totally incompetent police officers on the street. As a 20-year-old security guard, I was an eyewitness to and victim of a police crime and then a cover-up attempt of that crime by the police. I am 51 years old now, and when I see an injustice like this that happened to Kelly Thomas at the hands of 6 Fullerton police officers, I have to do my best to get the word out so it never happens again, just like I did in my case. According to Kelly Thomas's father, he weighed only 135 pounds and suffered from mental illness. 6 Fullerton police officers beat Kelly for 10 to 15 minutes, and eyewitnesses that videoed the beating, which you can see on YouTube, saw and heard a helpless 37-year-old man lying on his stomach with 6 Fullerton police officers on top of him scream, "Dad, Dad, Dad," until the scream stopped. Disgusting. The police were yelled at by people watching, "Why don't you just handcuff him?" I am asking the media all over the nation to cover the story and put a stop to criminally corrupt and totally incompetent police officers once and for all. This is not Nazi Germany. This is the United States of America, and we are supposed to be better than this. Mr. Kelly Thomas deserved better from his fellow man than he received from those that are paid to protect and serve, keep the peace, and investigate crimes. These pictures are from a protest in Fullerton and show a man, Kelly Thomas, before encountering the police and after encountering the police. Unbelievable. Respectfully, Daniel L. Petrie. Then I say at the bottom, I just said, P.S. Justice for Kelly Thomas on Facebook. If you want to follow the story further, videos are also on YouTube of the actual crime and eyewitness interviews. And that's what I sent all over the nation. And I don't know if that got it on Fox or CNN. I hope I just helped. But within a week of doing that, Judge Napolitano on Fox was actually commenting on this case. And CNN has a picture of Kelly Thomas now on their website. So if I had anything to do with that, then I did my job, because you can't cover this stuff up, America. It's just got to stop. It's just got to stop.
Well,
we have to stop it.
They do cover up a lot because we don't have real media. Right here in public access, you probably get more real media than from communist negative news network or the Foxy Doxy people that keep you distracted. But I can go down to Orange County and contact Ron Kelly, Kelly Thomas's dad, Ron, and interview him. But I would like to find out from the police why. I would like to get their side of it. Police don't just generally walk up to people and just start beating them for no reason at all. There must have been some false information, some trigger, and this happens. Neighbors will call up because they don't like you and just say, "Oh, he's doing this and that, come and get him." And the police come up and he may not be doing anything, but he's got a bad attitude. And he doesn't say,
he's
well,
biased.
You know, or maybe he's a little mental already, and the cop gets in his face with a bad attitude. Now you got 2 people with a bad attitude, and pretty soon things go down the wrong way. But I would like to get the police officers. I mean, I know Orange County is ripe with corruption, at least as bad or worse than that district in Los Angeles, where they had cops were hired to murder people and did murder people for pay. And they had cops burglarizing homes. And they had this program in LA. Well, call up and let your local precinct know when you're going to be gone, and they'll patrol you. And the police would go and burglarize your house. I mean, it's that bad. We need accountability. And I keep coming back to this idea. I think every police department, every sheriff's department, should have a police review board that is manned by angry people who have been victims of police brutality. I don't want people on that board who their brother's the chief of police or their sister's head of internal affairs, and they're going to whitewash everything. I want people on that board specifically who've had issues with the police. And if they were unreasonable in their final decisions, a cop, can say, "Hey, these guys all hate me just because I'm a cop and they're treating me wrong." But I'd rather have a mediocre or good cop taken off the police department than have 10 bad cops beating people until their eyeballs are out of their socket.
They beat him for 10 or 15 minutes.
With witnesses watching, you know.
With witnesses watching. Yeah, can I say something real quick about
Sure.
that? I made that point early on. If these guys are going to video with camcorders, with people with cell phones with camcorders, if these 6 police officers are going to brazenly beat Mr. Kelly Thomas fatally to death in front of people with camcorders, how many out there that haven't been on camcorder? How many people have just been picked up and are just out in the desert? I mean, this is unbelievable that these guys thought they could actually do it right in front of camcorders. And
no, this is what happens, Mr. Petrie, when your country becomes a fascist state. This happens more and more often, and this reminds me of the woman who was raped and murdered. I believe she was murdered by a Riverside sheriff's deputy on her way back from Las Vegas on I-15. He pulled her over, I think, and then made her pull off the freeway, and then he raped the woman, and then he murdered the woman, and that was, I believe, a San Bernardino sheriff deputy. I think he murdered her. It's been a long time, but these things happen.
It was down in San Diego. Was one CHP was killing people or something. Yeah.
You know, it happens more, and you know, we have the case in Wisconsin. I think it was Omri, little town, where the chief of police was doing something illegal and criminal, and one of his deputies was going to out him and had a confrontation and said to the chief, you know what, you're getting away with too much, and I'm going to blow the whistle. Well, the chief killed him. Boom!
Oh, what do you think I'm afraid of, America?
You know, we need police review boards, and I would like to know what Sheriff Bill Brown thinks of that idea. Sheriff Bill Brown, I'm putting it to you. Would you like to have a sheriff's review board made up of citizens, mostly citizens who've had issues with the police? Because if you can't stand that kind of scrutiny, then what you're really telling me, Sheriff Bill Brown, is you don't want any accountability. And I know his answer, well, people get to vote every election. Not if the elections are rigged. Your vote doesn't mean anything, and our elections are rigged. The die-ball voting machine threw the election in 04 so that Santa Maria would have fluoridated water. And actually, we didn't vote that way. The elections were flipped. And I'm the one that put in the protest letter. And they responded and said, oh, put up $8,000 a day, Mr. Wagner. We'll recount the whole county. I didn't want the whole county. I just wanted Santa Maria's precincts where I believe the rigging had been flipped. Because I caught our election official, what's her name, Marlene Vlich, counting the ballots and reprogramming the thing in a back room locked up, and that's against the law. She's never been charged with anything. What's wrong with you people on the grand jury? Yeah. Marlene Vlich should have been charged. Nothing was done. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to make sure I get all my points for the good people of Fullerton who are seeking justice. Don Bankhead, Pat McKinley, and Dick Jones, the mayor, I guess, are on the city. They're trying to recall them. The first autopsy came back inconclusive, which is unbelievable. They call it a fight and mob rule in the OC register, I guess, which is, it wasn't a fight. It was the guy, there's no evidence that he swung on anyone, and the peaceful people who are protesting are not a mob. And Dick Jones, the mayor, said, I've seen worse. These are good men, talking about the police, which is unbelievable. And Chief Sellers is on medical leave, and DA is Tony Rakalkas. So there you go. Join us, America, and take back your country before it's too late.
We're almost out of time.
We're all Terry Thomas, everybody.